Hello, users! What's up? Hey, welcome to another episode of Above It All. And today I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, but in this particular video, South Korea is reopening their schools. So apparently this is, started like a slight increase in cases for South Korea. But according to their health officials, they feel like they can mitigate the spread of the virus, and I honestly, given the way that they have handled this whole pandemic so far, I'll pay attention to it, because if it does become another outbreak, then that of course spells extreme trouble for our situation in the United States. But if they can handle that thing, it shows that reopening properly is possible. And there have been a lot of plans floated for reopening things, like, the 4-day work week or whatever, like that kind of stuff. Maybe, just a part of society at some point in the next 10 years. But this is one of those things where I just kind of want to talk about the differences between South Korea and the United States and the way that they handle this pandemic. South Korea basically took it seriously from the immediate genesis of the first case in the country, and they were like, all right, this is going to be serious. We know it's going to be serious. Let's take this seriously. And the fact that they're already confidently reopening schools, now again, it could lead to a disaster. We'll see if they actually do have this understood. Basically, they're checking people's temperatures. And, if people need to be quarantined, they will be quarantined. And they're trying to do, certain grades only and that kind of stuff. Which, again, it's doable. And so the thing about this is, again, our country, the United States of America, is starting to do this whole reopening thing where, the CDC released these guidelines and nobody's following them. And the Trump administration is basically saying you don't need to follow the CDC guidelines. And we're the CDC guidelines, by the way, which aren't even remotely as good as the South Korean guidelines. The CDC isn't some holy agency that operates for the sincere and total benevolence of human society. It's they're doing this, they're only giving out reopening guidelines because the country is reopening, and they kind of want to maybe pressure some people. It's kind of if at least one business follows these guidelines, it's a net win, you know what I mean? That's kind of the mentality that the CDC is taking at this point. Obviously we shouldn't be reopening in any capacity, and obviously we locked down way too late, and that's kind of the problem. And again, I've mentioned this before, but as soon as there is an actual reopening without an extremely strategic kind of, guideline to it, which of course we're not doing, the virus is already resting in all 50 states. The virus was only resting in a few states during the last outbreak. So if all of the states just reopen, the virus is going to completely, every single state is going to turn into New York City, depending on density and city population and so forth. But and that's what people aren't really understanding. The resting cases are already there. So it's and of course, obviously, we don't have every single case of coronavirus marked and monitored, right? So and if we did, then we'd be in a different situation. But we don't. So we can only guess that there are a certain amount of cases in a particular place. There could be asymptomatic individuals that are just completely fine and are going out. And that's the problem. It's again, I went to Walmart a week ago, and I had my mask on and everything, but I saw almost nobody with masks on, and there are at least 200 people, maybe 300 people that I saw throughout the entirety of Walmart, and there was no social distancing or physical distancing. There was no separations whatsoever. There were signs everywhere and markings on the floor. Of course, nobody followed them. And this culminated in my brother seeing someone with a shirt on that says, "Donald Trump is my president," and they had proudly displayed that they wear no mask. And it's yeah, we're going to see a giant fucking problem in this country. And keep in mind, I live in North Carolina. It's not even the most southern hickest of the southern hick states. It's kind of 50% southern hick dumb fuck and 50%, somewhat more intelligent southern hick dumb fuck. And I throw myself in not 100%, I'm one of those. I don't know which one yet. But, it's one of those situations where, again, if you figured everything out and took it seriously from the get-go, we could be like South Korea, where we're starting to get over it. But instead, we're acting like we're like South Korea and we're starting to get over it, except we're in the middle of it, if not in the first of five. If you were to divide this into fifths, we'd be in the first, maybe the second fifth, of handling this outbreak, and it's only going to get worse. And Jesus fucking Christ, I really wish I lived in South Korea right now. But again, we'll see how this goes in South Korea. This is something that should be followed all around the world, what other economies are doing so that we can, base our opinions off of that and base our moves off of that. But it looks like the United States of America is going to be in for a rough couple of weeks here, so definitely do not leave your house if you can help it. If you need to leave your house to go to the groceries or whatever, just be safe about it. Don't fuck around, and I don't know, you got this. Just be safe about it, and yeah, this is fucked.